what do they call it? What is it?
Artificial intelligence.
That's it, artificial intelligence. That's it.
AI.
Huh?
AI.
AI? What?
AI.
AI? AI? Artificial intelligence? Yeah, I know.
Hello there, my labs. Nice of you to pop in. Today, I thought I would just talk a little bit about AI and how it is being used increasingly in book publishing, not only for writing books, but also for the art that's generated for the book covers, that kind of thing. And I've been kind of grappling with this phenomenon ever since it reared its ugly head, to be honest. And I used to spend a good deal of time debating this subject online, various forums. Usually it was quite a miserable experience. But anyway, I just thought I'd talk a little bit about it and how it's affected me mentally, perhaps more than anything, not monetarily, because I have self-published 5 books now and I'm not at any increased risk of losing revenue over those books because they never sell anyway. But no, this is more about the idea of using AI in general. Now, this is spurred me today to do this because I read an article this morning on wired.com, and it was talking about a new trend that appears to be happening on TikTok primarily. I don't use TikTok, I'm an old man, but about young authors releasing videos showing them actually physically writing, whether that's using paper and a pen and doing their line editing, or videos of them actually physically typing and the screen showing what they're doing. It's because they're having to justify the fact that they are real authors and that they're not using AI. And I thought that what a sad state of affairs this has become. Now, I've even considered doing this myself. I thought, right, I might even write a whole story, a short story, and document the whole process just to prove that it's me that's done it and not some robot fucker from another dimension. But I thought to myself, no, because this very footage that these people are uploading could then be harvested by these nefarious authors and used to feed a video generator that would generate proof that what they've written is real. I mean, that's the kind of bleak future we're heading towards. So, I mean, I have never used AI to even attempt to write anything. So I don't know how it works. I know it's a prompt-driven thing, very much the same way as AI image generators work. So I don't know if it's currently able to, off the strength of a prompt, write me a Harry Potter story in the style of Stephen King with lots of penises in it. I don't know if that would generate a whole 70,000 words in one fell swoop. Perhaps that's true, I don't know. If it doesn't happen at the moment, then it will. I mean, we're definitely getting towards that point. I think a lot of people are using it as a tool. I mean, this is one of the things that the proponents of using AI will scream at you until they're blue in the face. It's a new tool, you old shit. Use it or get left behind. That same mantra that's always trotted out. But yes, I don't like the idea of it because basically you're prompting, say you've written the lion's share of a book, but you're not happy with the structure of it, or you're not happy with these few paragraphs, and you get it to offer you some alternative suggestions. So then you become a curator of these other options, and your choice to include them in your book, therefore gives you authorship over it, perhaps. But for me, any kind of intrusion, any kind of rewording that's offered by anyone, I disregard. I don't want. It's got to be mine. It's got to be entirely driven by my own mentality, my inspiration, my will to want to do it, to invest time to do it. Now, I can see the appeal of using an AI as an editor, because a lot of authors or indie authors, struggling authors, they're not making any money, so they can't afford the extortionate costs of a professional editor to go through their work. I can see the appeal there. So I think perhaps that's the only thing I would consider morally acceptable. Not that I would ever use it myself, but I can see the appeal there, telling them what's wrong with it potentially. But other than that, I don't like it. So the last book I published, I did a little thing in, I think it was below the copyright page, just saying no AI was used in the cover or any of the writing other than the spell checker in Microsoft Word 2010. So I like to put that there just to say, look, this is mine. So the last book I wrote, it took me about 9 months to get it out from beginning to end. I wrote the draft in 1 month. I set myself a challenge. I was doing about 3,000 words a day, and I was really happy I did it. Of course, that was only the beginning. I then revised it 3 times, I think. I went through it 3 times, the whole thing, knew it inside and out, and I got it to as close to what I wanted as possible. Now, that's what I do. The problem I have with AI when it's used specifically for writing a book is that I know that even proponents of AI will very, very rarely disclose the fact that they've used it, because they know that most people, even if they like the idea of AI, they don't want to read a novel that's come from an author that's used AI. They don't know how much of their time has been invested in this book. Have they been working on it for a year, or have they churned it out in a number of days? So that's the problem. It's a kind of a low effort idea that springs to mind when you're attempting to read something that's been written using AI. If I ever knew that a book had been written using AI, I would avoid it like the plague. I've got no intention of reading it. Why invest time in reading something and money in buying it when the person that's created it has potentially not invested any effort whatsoever? That's the problem. There's degrees here. They might have used a little bit of AI. They might have used it entirely. But how the hell do you know? How do you know? Yeah, but then one of the arguments I once came across was, well, if it's a wonderful story, what does it matter if it's been entirely generated using AI? Now, that's true to a point. Yes, if it's a great story, you can't distinguish it between AI slop and something that an author's spent years writing. If you get enjoyment out of it, surely that's okay. But no, this book has an author's name attached to it. Some author wants not only your money, but potentially any of the praise that has been generated from your reading of this book. If this book was just generated at random, if there was a service, for example, where you wanted a Harry Potter book written in the style of Stephen King with lots of penises in it, and you just clicked that and it gave it to you, and yes, you enjoy it, yes, it's wonderful, that's another thing. It's still deplorable, but at least it's not associated with an author. The problem is these kinds of people, the people that do this typically with writing and especially with AI generated art, they want praise for it. It's quite incredible. They're quite happy to walk all over the graves of these poor people upon whose work their stuff has been generated from using these large language models, whether it's visual or writing or whatever. But the moment someone else tries to pass off one of their AI generated pieces of art as their own, they're up in arms about it. I can assure you, I've seen many examples of this where people are going, I can't believe this person has posted this image, and they haven't even linked me into it as being the person that's created this damn thing, the person that prompted this thing, so going back to that point, yes, AI is capable of generating wonderful images and potentially wonderful passages of writing, if not entire books. But at the end of the day, there will always be a human at the end of it, at the other end of it, wanting your money for it, wanting your praise for it. And that is the problem, isn't it? I don't know. I don't know where I was going with this, but I think the long and the short of it is it kind of makes a mockery of anyone that seriously enjoys the craft of writing and the hope that one day they will make a living from it. Because people that I'm talking about, people here that are potentially churning stuff out left, right, and center, and you think maybe, well, people don't do that. There are people that will do anything to make money. There are people doing that. So they're belittling the efforts of people that spend years of their lives working on something that will probably not be seen by many people or bought by many people. But to them, it's a throwaway thing. It's something, it's a side hustle, that term that's used a lot, where they'll get their AI to write something, publish it the next day, and just automate the process. And, meanwhile, who knows what they're doing? Fuck all, probably. And they're not creative people. They're just greedy. They want money, potentially fame as well, but they're the direct antithesis of people that enjoy writing. I don't know. I mean, what's the outcome? I mean, basically the main problem with this is that the market becomes completely saturated in books. I mean, it's hard enough as it is anyway. There's millions and millions of published books already. But when you've got all of these other ones coming onto the market too, I mean, AI generated covers are everywhere now. I mean, they used to be able to kind of tell whether it was AI generated or not. I think they're becoming so good now that it's harder to distinguish between them. And so you've got this massive field of stuff. And the chances of your lowly little book getting anywhere, it's taken you a year or two to write. You're up against people that have spent a week doing it and don't really give a shit about it anyway. They would change their story if they found fame, of course. They would become, oh, yes, I put everything into this. This is my life, all of their shit. But most people that are doing this are doing it on a very superficial level. If you're using AI to give you ideas, to give you inspiration, to help you improve a craft that you haven't spent any time developing, then why the hell are you doing it in the first place? There's no such thing, I believe, as writer's block or mind block, as I often get. If you do it properly, there's always something there to write about. There's something to enjoy, to explore. Anyone that tells you differently, they either don't have their heart in it or they don't really know what they're doing. They haven't spent enough time improving themselves or their craft. That's what I would say anyway. But anyway, I think even making a video like this is going to can potentially cause problems. You can come up against people that really disagree with you. And as I've said before, I've had some exchanges with people that come from a completely different mindset. They don't appreciate the fact that the artists, for example, have been losing their jobs because they're easily and readily replaced by people that are using AI to just pump shit out. They don't understand. They don't have skin in the game, so to speak. They've got nothing to lose. And then that other old trope is trotted out. Well, the oil fire lighters were not lamented by the rest of the population when electricity came along and they were put out of their jobs. But this is a very different thing. We're talking here about creativity, that aspect of humanity that's closest to the soul, if you will. It's ripping that very concept to shreds. And it's about people that have invested not just years, but decades of their lives, their whole life, to that one pursuit. I mean, I remember when this first reared its head, the way it was, AI art was starting to intrude and elbow away certain artists. I started thinking there's going to be a massive mental health crisis in the wake of this. I already wonder how many people might have already, really hurt themselves or even killed themselves over this, because I don't think a lot of people realize how important art in general, and I encompass writing and other pursuits within this, but how important it is for some people to just stay on an even keel. And when that's taken away from you, when the prospect, your future prospects are reduced to stacking shelves in a shop, it really does, hit home, I suppose. Anyway, I'm rambling as usual. I just wanted to get this off my chest, and also hear what you all think about this as well. I don't know. Am I just old and past it? I don't know. I think probably there's a part of that. I mean, we can't control the way the world is. There's a shift, isn't there? You suddenly find yourself on the wrong side of change, and perhaps that's what's happened. But I still think that creativity should be left to the humans. And AI is not a tool if a child can create a masterwork by typing in a few words into an AI generator. Anyway, there we are. Tell me what you think. Sorry about the noise outside. Someone's strimming. There'll be robots doing that eventually. Anyway, cheers. Bye. Cheerio.